Okay, so let's begin. We have here a small conversation and we are using the present perfect for this lesson. Don't forget. First we have here a small conversation. Look, it says, my brother has traveled to many places. He has visited Rome. He hasn't gone to Paris. Your friend asks you, has he gone to Madrid? And then you answer, no, not yet. In this simple conversation, we can see that we have some combination of affirmative, negative, and some questions. Now, in present perfect, there's something interesting. You can add more words to give more emphasis to your sentences. But look, I could say, he has already visited Rome. He hasn't gone to Paris yet. Your friend can ask you, hey, so has he gone to Madrid yet? And you can say, no, not yet. These two words, already and yet, are very useful for the present perfect. They indicate if an action is completed or an action that is incomplete. So essentially that's the thing that we have here. We can use these words already and yet in sentences in present perfect. Now, something that you may have to take into consideration is the position. Okay? Remember, for affirmative sentences, we use already. For negative sentences, we use yet. And for questions, we can have more options. Now remember, the position of these extra words are varied, but usually already goes in the middle of the verb, between the auxiliary verb and the main verb of the sentence. Yet usually goes at the end of the sentence. And yeah, that applies for both negatives and questions. But you have more words, okay? For example, we have here expansion. Something important that you have to remember is that you should only use one word. So for example, if I have here already, I cannot use the other words. Only that one. He has already visited Rome. But as you see, already has two positions. You can say he has already visited Rome, or you can also say he has visited Rome already. Both are correct, but remember the most standard position is in the middle. You have other expressions that you can use as well. You could also say he has just visited Rome. In that case, remember that just is for recent events. It's not for other situations. And before, it's also very similar to already in this case. He has visited Rome before. You're just implying that the person has done it in the past. The next one, for negative sentences. You see that yet has the same positions. You can also use it here in the middle or at the end. But remember, don't repeat the word. You can only use one. Okay, you can say he hasn't yet gone to Paris. Or he hasn't gone to Paris yet. Don't repeat the words. Okay? Another option that you have for negative sentences is ever. And you can combine ever with before if you want. That's why you have this asterisk here. Okay, that's why you have this asterisk here. But that's essentially the difference here. Now, one interesting detail about ever, if you want to use it in a sentence. Remember that the negative part and ever are equal to saying never. Let's imagine that not ever is a combination of the two things. Okay, not ever is a combination of never, let's say. Okay, if you combine not ever, you have never. So you have two options. You can either say he hasn't ever been there, or you could say he has never been there. Okay, that's the idea in this case. And again, you can combine it with before. If you have the asterisk, that combination is possible. If you don't have an asterisk, that combination is impossible. Okay, so you cannot say he hasn't yet gone to Paris before. No, not really. Okay, don't use that. And finally, for yes no questions, you can use all of the words basically. You can say already, or you could say yet. But don't use yet in the middle. For questions, it's not really useful to use that in the middle. And yes, of course, you can use you can add ever or you can add before to give more emphasis. Remember, all the words in color red that we have here, just add emphasis to your sentence. You are being more emphatic that yes, I did it, or no, I didn't do it, but I maybe want to do it in the future. That's the idea of these words of already and yet. So that's the idea. Okay, so please remember to study, and I hope you have done your homework.